Hello and what is up, my friends? Thunderbob here, and tonight we are going to be checking out a new VR game. This is the Light Brigade from Funtronic Labs, and this is a new roguelike VR shooter. It's run-based. It kind of reminds me of like Hades, if Hades was a VR FPS game. You go on runs, you come back with resources to upgrade kind of like this meta system. There's different classes, which kind of take the place of like the different weapons in Hades. Overall, I've really enjoyed it. I've put in a couple of rounds through, and in this video, I'm going to show you going through and killing the first boss. Here we go. Here are the different classes available. I've primarily played with the Rifleman. There's the Scout, Pistoler, Assault, Militia, Sniper, Breacher, Engineer, and back to Rifleman. And you unlock these through various means. Right now, I've really only played the Rifleman. I've only put maybe 2 hours into this game so far, but so far, I've really enjoyed it. I'll go and show you, after your matches, you come back and you rank up your class. I just got enough points to bump up my rifle, so we'll go ahead and upgrade that. And make me a little bit stronger. And in this video, you'll actually see I am successful in killing the first boss, which was pretty difficult, because I'm kind of still a noob at this. But overall, I really enjoy it. It's got like a cool cartoony kind of graphical look to it. Like it reminds me a little bit of, this is like a deep cut, an older game. Journey kind of comes to mind, where Journey had like this really cool cartoony, but also like artistic look to it. Like, and it runs really well. I was able to bump up everything pretty high. Actually, I'll bring up the settings here. Running everything at 120% of native resolution, and this is on the Quest 2 headset, so I'm running 120%. And everything else is mostly mid to high settings. Actually, I'm not sure why the shadow quality was set to none there. Let me fix that. And when I'm not recording, I'm getting like no stutters at all. When I'm recording this video, I usually record when I'm doing PCVR at a pretty high resolution. When I'm doing the recording, I just get a little bit of stutter, like when there's a lot of enemies on the screen, but overall it's definitely playable still. When I'm not recording, it's perfect. Like there's no stutter at all. So I think the recording video does introduce a lot. There's also just a ton of quality of life settings here that are really nice, and I'm not going to read all these, but just to show you, you can come in here and set to realism or arcade. That's like your reloading mechanics. You can come in here on each individual gun and change those mechanics. If you want, you know, have to pull the clip out, you want to pull the lever back, all that stuff. Just a ton of options. There's also a ton of VR quality of life features in here. Movement. Do you want free movement? Do you want teleport only? Do you want head turning, snap move? You know, like there's a million settings in here, and it's really cool to see how in-depth everything is. It shows the developer really cares, because this is supported on all kinds of headsets. Like right now, this is the Steam version that I am feeding through Oculus, through AirLink. And it's like, so I'm using Steam, I'm using the Quest controllers and headset, and it's like, does all this stuff work together perfectly? Not always, but they give you a lot of options in here where you can adjust things to make it right. Though out of the box, it ran just fine. We're gonna go ahead and pick up my gun here, and we're gonna load up on ammo, and we are gonna go for our first attempt here. And, oh, gotta, put ammo in, and nope, I forgot to cock it. Yeah, the gunplay here is pretty good. It feels nice. Sometimes like the iron sights, I feel like just don't work right. Some games don't pull it off, but I feel like the iron sights here work pretty decently. And I feel like most of the time I hit what I'm aiming at. When things are really far, it gets a little bit funky at times, but overall, I've been pretty impressed with the gunplay. Alright, so let's proceed to get started to go to this owl statue thing down here. And again, like everything looks really nice. Got a nice aesthetic to it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which that's a little bit more realistic, but it's obviously a little exaggerated, kind of like a Telltale style game. This I think leans a little bit more into almost like a cartoony, almost like a Studio Ghibli aesthetic at times. Obviously, it's not quite as artistic as that, but it kind of reminds me of it. And you activate things by doing this kind of like prey mechanic. You'll end up doing this a lot in the game for whatever reason. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. And my understanding is the levels are randomized every time. It seems like enemy placement and maybe like the layouts are different. Though I haven't really run it enough to know how different they can be, but I've definitely seen a lot of variations. And I forgot to cock my gun. Oh, actually, forgot to put any bullets in. I like that they give you some ability to kind of dodge the enemy's attacks. It feels a lot like those early VR games, like we gotta break these. Space Pirate Trainer comes to mind, which was like a very active game where you shot things and you were able to dodge out of the way of enemies. You can also get up, like later you can get like a shield to hold in front of you. You can definitely like get behind cover pretty well. The combat itself is really nice, and you run into these are in-run upgrades. You won't take them back with you. I do wish that there was a little bit better tooltip. Like, there are definitely times where I'm like, I have no idea what these words mean, and it's kind of an odd comparison, but I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, and they have that nice where you can hit the T, I think it is, on the PC, and it'll let you, like, highlight over every word, and it'll give you more detail on every single thing, which I think it might be overboard for this type of game, but half the time I have no idea what the cards are doing, and this is after like 2 hours of play. There's also, it's smooth movement, it's on, but there's also at the same time, if you press up on the right stick, it lets you teleport, which is nice. It reminds me a lot of Half-Life Alyx. Half-Life Alyx does the exact same thing. I think it's a nice compromise. I generally like free movement, but sometimes that teleport is just so beneficial from like a navigation perspective, like going up elevations, going up and down, you know, higher and lower tiers. I think this game wouldn't work without the combination of the two. You run into these ghosts also. I think they're like Dark Souls style, like when another player dies, their body's out here and you get resources for praying at them. I'm not 100% sure what it all means yet, but that seems to be how that mechanic works. Oh, getting hit. Why can't I not hit that guy? All right, area clear. Generally, when you kill all the bosses, that area clear message comes up, though you don't actually have to beat all the enemies to proceed. Like there was one where I was like out of ammo and I had a bunch of souls I didn't want to lose, or whatever the resource is called, and I just booked it out of there. So you could totally just say, screw it, I'm gonna go on to the next level, and it will let you do that. And here we are on the second level. The first, it seems like there's like 2 levels that are very similar, and then you kind of go almost to like a new biome, kind of. At least that's how the first couple levels have gone, all the way up to the first boss, which I do beat in this video, just barely. I'm recording most of this commentary after the fact. I actually was recording during gameplay, and somehow a lot of the audio got distorted. So some of this is during gameplay, some of it's after gameplay, just to be transparent there. I do like how the enemies, when they pop up, like, that they are aware of your presence, they make that, like, audio cue. Reminds me a lot of Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. That game does the same thing, where, like, whenever a zombie is aware of your presence, it goes like, ooh, ah, and it, like, you immediately know I need to look around and be aware of my surroundings. Because in VR, I feel like situational awareness, it's easy to lose, more so than in, like, a 2D game. I know that presence you get in VR, sometimes those audio cues, like footsteps, what direction they're coming from, all that stuff, is sometimes more important than actually seeing an enemy. And they do it really well here, I gotta say. I'm going to try to save my souls, because I don't want to die with all these souls. I got a lot of souls right now. Oh, there's a guy right there. Jeez. Lordy lordy. Alright, let's get all these things. I didn't see that area clear message pop up. I'm also not sure how the health works, because sometimes I'll get down to 1 HP. What is that guy doing? Is he prancing, or is that bugged out? I don't know if that was intentional. Shoot. Oh, I thought I died. I didn't die. Again, I'm at 1 HP. But I think just if you give it a few seconds, that health goes back up, I think is how it works. Yeah, see now I'm at 5. I think it goes up to 5. Maybe you can increase that minimum. Again, I really wish it explained more of those mechanics to you. I am at 1 health. Literally 1 health. Why are there still more enemies here? Let me just move to the next level. I apologize if you're looking at my butt right now. When I play these games, I tend to not use the stick movement. I almost always use, like, free movement. When I first started VR, I was playing RuneScale VR almost exclusively, and it's just, you know, I just love that, being able to move around in free space and just literally look around. I don't know, that is such a unique thing to the VR experience. And here we're at the Frozen Mountains, which is kind of like I said, is like every 2 levels it seems like it kind of changes up the look of the world. So this is like the mountains. And again, I'm not 100% sure how much randomization there is, because I ran through this level a few times, and I feel like the layout was pretty similar each time, but like the enemy placement, the kind of where the items are, that kind of thing seem randomized, so I might need to do a little bit more research. Like, it seems like it is somewhat randomized, but I don't think it's like 100%. But each run does feel different, because you're getting different unlocks, finding different, you know, enemy placements and groupings and stuff, but I don't know if it's like truly generating the terrain and everything every time. These guys are super far away. And I don't know how well it comes across in the video, the iron sights, but I set it to use my right eye, because I am right-handed, and typically, like, when I'm aiming on the right, using my right eye. But I just don't know how well it comes across in the video, so I apologize if that aiming just looks terrible. It is what it is. It's sometimes hard to do VR recordings. Ooh. That was nice. That was beautiful. Let's keep going. And I am cutting some of this down a little bit, where it's just me, like, picking up all of the scraps on the ground. But again, here's some cards. And again, I really don't know what all these things mean. I wish I don't know if there's a button press I can do or something that'll give me a little bit more detail, like, do all of these impact my gun? Like, I don't always know which the best one, but I guess these type of games, the more you play, you figure out, you know, the weapon combinations that work for you, and like the specific setup and everything. I am probably way early. How do I get over there? Okay, it like highlighted. I'm probably way early to know like what's good and what's bad and what works with what, but I think it should be a little bit more obvious, to be honest. And we're on to Frozen Mountain 2. Getting close to that first boss. I'm not sure. I haven't been to any areas that were not kind of like a frozen world, or I don't know if the biomes change more later, but it'd be really cool to see like a verdant forest or a fiery, you know, like a dungeon or something. Like, I don't know. This works, but it depends how long the game is, because I got to the first boss, beat the first boss, and then it kept going. You know, if you can beat this game in 2 hours, I don't think I'd get bored necessarily of like the basic setting. If this isn't, you know, 8 to 10 hour game and all the levels are in the same setting, that might be a little too much. Shoot. Well, I can show you what happens when you die. So when you die, you get one do-over basically, and your ghost is out there in the environment. All these ghosts I've been praying to. You can see it on my screen here. I have to get to it and pray, and that'll give me my souls back. And if I fail, then I die, and I'm dead for good, and I have to start from scratch. So I will lose all progress, other than what I've saved at little handprint things. Man, you guys are hitting hard. I'm gonna take this a little slow. Okay, here it is. Okay, now I've got that back. If I die again, my ghost will pop out, and I'll get a chance to recover. So, like, whenever I do die, like, I'm very much careful about trying to get my body back. Because, yeah, you're screwed otherwise. I think I'm at 1 HP again. I don't know how easy it is to see, but you can see, like, my health and my ammo there. When I'm looking down the iron sights, that's, like, just barely visible, which is kind of perfect. Like, if I'm really aiming and not taking count of how many bullets I have, just at a glance, I know, okay, I've got 3 hit points left. I've got 5 bullets left. I'm good to rock and roll. I think they do that pretty well. Some games, that UI is so intrusive, like it's either always on your screen, or I feel like they put it at like the bottom of your screen that's like always hard to really get the information when you need it. But I feel like this game actually handles that quite well. And actually, I feel like overall the UI is pretty good, other than not maybe giving you quite enough information. And then the controls and everything, it just all comes together really nicely. It's very intuitive. It took a lot of cues, I think, from something like Half-Life Alyx, which, you know, is maybe one of the best VR games, period. Like, I was gonna say the best VR shooter, but I think Half-Life Alyx maybe just is like the best, period. But they also, you know, they're probably the developers put the most money into VR and VR games and hardware and experiments. And where's this last guy at? I don't want to die. I do not want to die because I haven't backed up my stuff in a while. Oh. Okay, I'm going to try to sneak across so he doesn't see me. Apologies if I'm a little nasally a bit over something. Oh, that guy has a lot of health and I am missing like crazy. And I am basically on my last clip of ammo because I have been stupid and not picking it up. You know what? F it. We're gonna keep going. We are going to just pray at this thing and hope it doesn't see me, and that's already 5, and F you, buddy. We'll see you at the next time. And we are on to the next level here. One thing I do have a slight issue with in the game is the frequency of the loading screens. Like, I realize they're pretty fast. Why can't I not? You should be able to like click on those cards and remind yourself what you picked up, because I can't figure out how to do that. But the frequency of the loading screen, some of these levels are as short as like 2 to 3 minutes, and then you are at a loading screen. And sometimes it's like a loading screen to take you to the shop, and then to get to the actual next level is another loading screen, and it feels a little bit much. I've got a pretty high-end PC I'm playing this on, so it's not so much of an issue. But I wonder on the Quest 2, you know, if you're running this natively, what those load times look like. Probably a lot longer. But again, I haven't played the Quest version. This is just my thoughts on the PCVR version, but it runs quite well. Even recording like 4K video at the same time, this is running really nicely, and it seems pretty well optimized. I kind of want to go back and play some Half-Life Alyx. Ooh, shit. Okay, I gotta go get my corpse back. I kind of want to go play Half-Life Alyx again. I haven't. I beat the whole game. Really enjoyed it. Oh yeah, I forgot about this gun. That'll spawn a dude to help me. And I really want to go explore the mod scene again, like the gunman contracts, which is basically like John Wick VR. I've got a video on the channel showing it off. But I really want to see, it's probably been 6 months since I checked that stuff out. I want to see if anything new has come out. There was a cool Bioshock mod, there's that John Wick mod, there's a lot of like horror-based stuff. Yeah, I kind of want to see how that's progressing. Man. Now we're talking. I feel like I am progressing to something. Like, pretty sure this is getting close to the boss here. I want to see if I can sneak up on this dude. I should have one-shot him. Shoot. Out of ammo. Yeah, I'm definitely getting close to the boss. I'm assuming this is like the first boss and not the end boss, but these rogue games, they can be rather short, so I'm curious. I'm thinking this is probably just the first boss. Oh, he's got a bunch of health pools. Oh, I was trying to back up to duck behind the door, and it closed behind me. Not cool, dude. Not cool. Oh. That's not nice, buddy. Ow! I cannot hit this guy. He's too far away. I feel like in the heat of battle, sometimes my aim, it just goes like wonky donkey. Like I can't hit anything. I'm almost at ammo too, I gotta pick that up. And if you're interested in this, it is $25 or so on Steam. I think it's about the same on Quest or PSVR 2. And I feel like, I've really enjoyed what I've played so far. I think that is a pretty fair price for kind of the experience you're getting here. And it's not early access, this was a full release. But even with that in consideration, they have been putting out free updates. Like this was just a fairly major update that came out that added extra classes that like added. I don't know, the list was huge. If you go and look at the patch that just came out, and so it does seem like they are continuing to add new content even as the game is out. You know, a lot of developers. Whoa, that thing almost hit me. I think I have one hit left. A lot of developers will charge for that stuff, so like good on you for giving away some of that stuff. Die. Whew. First boss down on my first attempt. I feel like I got lucky there at the end though. He was not hitting me. Alright, let's keep going. Oh, it's a shield. That's cool. Oh, and I was wondering, do I have to hold out in front of me? Because that wouldn't work with the two-handed, but you can actually, like, drop the shield in the environment. And I've had this one. I'm a little unsure. It's like a fireball, but I'm having some trouble mechanically. Like, it feels like when the fireball's out, you should just fling it, but that doesn't seem to work. Like yeah, that doesn't do anything. I get, oh, I can only carry one of these. I think I'll take the fireball one. Seems cooler. Yeah, F that one. Hey, where'd that guy go? Okay. It does seem like at the end of each level, and then periodically you get to like the shopkeeper and you can get like different upgrades and stuff. Seems like every so often, like when you die or when you beat certain bosses, that give you like a one-page like story kind of element. I'm still not completely sure what's going on in the story. There's some kind of post-apocalyptic type event, and you are like the Light Brigade, who is the last bastion against whatever the evil is. I need a key for these. I don't know how to unlock them yet. And if you pray at this thing, it will heal you. So I think that's the only heal I found so far. That took me up to 20 health again, which I've not had in a little while. And we are on the next world, and I die here pretty soon, so this video is almost over. But I feel pretty accomplished having beat the first boss on my first attempt on him. This is maybe my... it's between 5 and 10 runs I've done. I haven't really been keeping count, but it's not a lot. Definitely the most successful run I've had, by far. I don't know what those crystals are. Oh shit, those guys are... Oh, that is a guy's shield. Okay, so they get shields too. How do I guess I gotta shoot him in the ass? I guess that works. I have 2 HP left. Get your booty over here. There we go. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I'm gonna just give kind of my final thoughts here before I die. Overall, I'm definitely enjoying it. For the price, $24.99, it seems like a pretty good value. Runs well. Mechanically, I think it's all pretty sound. Obviously, I need to put more time into the game to really know how it all works and comes together. Like, there's cards I don't really understand yet, but I kind of get the gist of the game and the gameplay loop, and I'm enjoying it. I'm a big fan of these type of games, roguelike games. Even the different genres, Slay the Spire, Hades, FTL, I've probably played 50 of these type of games or more over the years to varying degrees. Some of them I've put hundreds of hours into them, like Hades and FTL. Some of them I'll play for 3 or 4 hours, like Banners of Ruin, and I'll get some fun out of it. And I'm not sure yet which kind of route this falls into. It might be one I spend, 10 hours on and I got enough enjoyment out of it. Or I might really dig this and end up spending hundreds of hours on it. I don't know yet. But I could definitely recommend from what I've played so far. So if you want to check this out, it's available on Steam, Quest, PSVR. If you like this video, please do like, subscribe, drop me a comment with your thoughts. And I just want to thank you once again for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful night.